97% of beginners, freelancers, and entrepreneurs in the AI and automation space are just builders. And I used to be just a builder myself, but when I understood that 90% of my time should be spent in revenue generating activities, which is in plain English, just selling, that's when I scaled a sales agency to 139K a month. So today I'm going to show you exactly what to focus on so you can start to be profitable rather than just constantly spinning your wheels. This is real practical, boring advice from someone who scaled a sales automation agency to 7 figures. So let's get into it.
Now, I know when I said this, you really felt it, right? Now you're thinking to yourself, yeah, that's true, Saad. I'm spending 24 hours trying to build this crazy automation, this crazy workflow, when in reality, I should be spending all my time and energy trying to sell it, okay? And don't worry, I used to make the same mistake, okay? To give you guys some context, when I first got started with AI and automation, well, before that, I used to be a nightclub bouncer, then a freelancer, then I got banned on Upwork, okay? So when I first got started, I was super overwhelmed with all these crazy automations, all these crazy chatbots, all these crazy workflows, right? And it took me a long time to understand that it doesn't matter how much time I put, how much time and energy I put into building this automation if I don't end up selling it. So now that you're hearing this, you're probably spending your entire day trying to come up with this crazy automation when in reality, you don't even know if people are willing to pay you money for it. You don't even know if it solves a real life problem. You don't even know if businesses are willing to actually invest in that system, automation, sales automation, whatever system you're trying to sell. You don't even know that, right? When in reality, you should be spending 90% of your time trying to put this automation or this workflow in front of eyeballs, which is businesses that are willing to pay and invest in this workflow system, okay? So the 97% is just there to build all day and show off to each other, which is classic. I used to do this too. Just showing off to each other, but not making sales, right? And guess what? If you don't make sales, well, you don't have a business. And if you don't have a business, well, you'll never achieve financial freedom or location freedom because we are in the AI and automation space. So we can sell systems that actually make us money, increases revenue, so we can live the life that we want, right? That's the entire point of building a business, right? That's just the truth. So the 3% is focused on 90% sales and 10% automation. Even if the automation constantly breaks, right? They still manage to sell it. You guys have to understand there are people that are not so good at automation, but they just sell, right? They just sell stuff, you know? You know how Alex Hormozi says, just sell stuff? That's literally it, right? Instead of you trying to come up with this crazy automation or I get the point, okay? I get the point. I know where the behavior comes from because you're overwhelmed, right? You're super overwhelmed. Like, I mean, if you go to your feed right now, there's a million and one tutorial explaining how to do this crazy thing. When in reality, like 99% of all these systems you see out there, like nobody cares about them, right? So that's a big problem. Beginners, freelancers, and entrepreneurs are trying to sell automation that most businesses don't really care about, don't want, don't need, and can't afford, okay? So you need to keep that in mind. So when I first got started, I was part of this 97%, which is basically just the builders. And I was also making this mistake where I thought that the AI and automation space, and you probably think the same way, you think that we're just going to throw all the business fundamentals, right? Just core main business fundamentals about business in general, just because now we are in AI and automation. Well, that's like the kiss of that. That's why 99% of beginners, freelancers, and entrepreneurs, and even people who have been doing this for a while, pulling 25K a month, they're still making this mistake. But I'm here to tell you, the AI and automation space is just a field, just like any other field, just like any other business. And the main core business fundamentals still apply, okay? And the weird thing is that most gurus are just simply not addressing this issue and they don't talk about it. Well, simply because they haven't walked the walk. And it's funny, I was talking to my friend, Nick Sarayev, shout out to you, and I was like, you know, the reason why we actually crushed it with AI and automation is simply because we have done the work. We actually went to the market. We've done outreach. We've done every single thing under the sun, right? And we talked to customers and we got told no so many times and we still managed to do that, right? And most people who are talking about it and teaching it are just teaching it from like a basic theory, showing you how to build this stuff, but I don't care about building that stuff. I want to know how to sell that stuff, right? Because ultimately, if I don't sell it, well, I'm just wasting my time and energy, and I'm just constantly adding more information that is not conducive to the end goal, which is me building a business that is profitable and long term, right? Think about it like long term. I should put this in like big caps, right? Long term, right? Because I'm assuming you're watching this, you're kind of like me. You don't want to work on one-off projects and just call it a day. You want to build a sustainable business because you want to do this for a long time, right? Because it removes all that anxiety about future so you can actually live in the present and actually be happy, right? So constantly thinking about the next month, the next 6 months is just not a life you want to live, right? You want to build something sustainable so you can do it for a long time. So one of these main core fundamentals that most in the AI and automation space never talk about is offer creation. Now, in talking to hundreds of beginners, freelancers, and entrepreneurs, most, 1, don't have an offer. 2, they don't know what to offer. No. What to offer. And the third thing is that they don't even know what an offer is. And as obvious and silly as this sounds, you need an offer to be able to sell automation or sell systems or any workflow. Like, I don't understand how this is not how people are not talking about this, right? You need an offer, just like any other business. Just because you're in AI and automation, you're expecting that you will be able to sell automation or workflows if you don't have an offer, right? Now, I know you might be thinking, Saad, can you explain what an offer is? Well, I'm going to explain it in very simple terms. A child could understand it, okay? An offer is simply a clear statement that explains how you're going to help someone fix or solve a specific problem in exchange of money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to build an offer for your sales automation, sales systems, or automation agency. That way you can get your first customer, second, and third, and eventually scale, okay? Because you're watching this, right? Not because you just want to build automations all day. You want to actually be profitable, okay? You want to throw away all these shiny ideas and you actually want to be profitable, okay? So let me explain. Now, obviously, just like I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to use the main business, the main core fundamentals of business, okay? Because they are still applied in automation, okay? So let's just do it. So the main components of an offer applying the main business fundamentals is 1, value creation. So you need to be able to create value because that's exactly what a business is. So what's a business? Well, it's a service that creates value in exchange of money. Well, how do you create value? Well, you solve a specific problem that people actually experience and they need the fix right now, okay? It's a must-have, not nice to have, okay? So when you create value, well, what do? You remove pain. And once you remove pain, well, now you can make money and build a profitable sales automation and automation business, okay? So value creation, solve problem that matters, okay? That matters. Now, we know, right? We know that in order for us to create value, we need to remove pain. Well, what is the pain that every business, right, under the sun, every business on planet Earth experiences? Well, it's client acquisition. I mean, think about it. Restaurants needs customers. The store down the street needs customers. B2B companies that provide any sort of service, they need customers, okay? On top of funnel, they need customers. They don't care about an AI agent that checks their CRM. They need customers. They need partners, people that are able to pay them monthly because that way they can scale, increase revenue, and essentially just grow, right? So if you don't have customers, well, you don't have a business, okay? So the main core problem that you should be focusing on in the offer is how can I make the other party money? Well, how do you make the other party money? Well, by connecting them to their ideal clients that are willing to pay them money monthly, right? For a long time, because this is what a business wants, okay? Because that's what a business is. A business makes sales. And how do we make sales? Well, by selling things, by solving client acquisition, by solving the problem of client acquisition. Okay, so focus only on that. You don't have to focus about anything. You don't have to focus on anything else. Just client acquisition, because it's kind of like food, right? You're always going to need food, and businesses will always need customers. So it's the same thing, okay? So value creation is 1. 2, well, it's going to be positioning. What is positioning? In plain English, it just means literally positioning yourself in front of the right people at the right time. What I mean by that is you need to position and put your service, your automation, right? Put your automation, your sales system, your sales automation, your workflow, your N18 workflow, Make.com workflow, whatever you're trying to sell, right? In front of their eyeballs, okay? You have to put that in front of them. Well, how do you put your automation in front of people who are willing to buy, okay? Well, there's only a few ways to do it, right? There's pay-per-click ads, which is ads. And ads are pretty expensive. I'm assuming you don't have $10,000 just to throw it at ads, okay? Myself, I've never ran ads, and I made $139K last month with my sales automation agency. I know it's crazy, but it is what it is, right? So just throw ads away, okay? Second thing is we have a personal brand. Now, guess what? You don't have a personal brand because you still haven't made clients or companies thousands of dollars, okay? So that's a personal brand because you can talk about it, because people are not going to listen to you if you haven't walked the walk, okay? So throw that away. Third thing is essentially referrals. Well, guess what? You don't have any referrals yet because you haven't worked with a client yet, okay? And if you did, well, probably these referrals are going to dry out eventually. Well, this takes us to the 4th client acquisition method and the most affordable one, which is outbound, okay? Now we have outbound, okay? And we have AI and automation that can automate our entire outbound, reach into what, like we just talked about it, the right people at the right time, okay? So, and again, what we're doing is we're solving the big problem, okay? Which is client acquisition. See? The third thing we're going to be talking about is your offer needs to solve a painful problem. Now, what is the automation or workflow that solves a painful problem? Well, it's sales systems, okay? Sales systems are just the way because they just connect companies with their ideal clients. I mean, think about it. If you if you go to any B2B company, you say, hey, I can get you clients. Do you think they're going to be like, no, we don't need clients, right? They're going to be like, yeah, give us clients. Like, get us clients right now. We want clients, right? But if you go and you knock the B2B company's door and you say, hey, I can build you an AI agent that actually posts on your IG, they're going to be like, we don't need that. Why would you need that? I can build you an AI proposal generator. I can build you a chatbot that interacts with users and customers. Well, you don't have customers. You don't have no customers. You need more customers, right? That's what you need, right? Because more customers just means more revenue. More revenue means you can hire more people. When you hire more people, well, now you have people that are specializing in something, a problem that your business experiences. Now we can fix that. With more revenue, well, you can fix bullshit easily, quickly. So you can reverse all the mess ups in your business, right? Your sales automation business. So more revenue just means more life into your business, okay? More life into your sales automation business or automation business. The fourth thing we're going to be talking about is distribution. See, this is all main business fundamentals that nobody applies, right? And they think they're going to scale their AI and automation agency by building stuff, right? It doesn't exist, right? This isn't La La Land, okay? And I'm here to just tell you the truth, right? which is the reason why you'll never see me here trying to come up with these crazy automations when I know it's just hype. I know nobody's gonna buy this. Nobody's gonna no business, B2B or B2C is gonna purchase this, okay? That's just the cold hard truth. So distribution just means put the automation in front of them using outbound, okay? So let's imagine this is a prospect, okay? This is their eyes. This is automation. Well, put this in front of their eyeballs, okay? That's literally what distribution is, okay? So this automation is gonna solve, let's pretend this is a heart, a painful problem. So once you put this automation in front of enough eyeballs and this automation actually solve a real life problems, well, guess what? Well, you build a profitable business. That's literally it. That's literally it. Okay. That's a magic formula, you know? The magic formula is there is no magic formula. Okay. That's literally the magic formula. Okay. And basically, this is, and I think I heard this in a movie. I can't remember which movie it was, but there was basically like a warrior and he wanted to learn martial arts. And there's this technique and he needs to read through the instructions of that technique. And that technique is essentially written in like a piece of paper, like a golden piece of paper. And it's gate kept in like a sketchy mountain. And when he finally arrives to that mountain and he picks up that golden paper, he reads through it. And the magic technique is there are no magic technique, right? The magic technique is within you. So this is kind of like the wisdom of that. Okay. So the magic technique is there is no magic technique. Okay. So you can apply it here. The last thing, which is charging money. So in your offer, you want to include the pricing, okay? Now, if you notice something, I did not include something called risk reversal. And this is where most beginners and freelance entrepreneurs fall short, is they watch these gurus and they're like, oh, you need to put the risk reversal in your outreach. You need to put your risk reversal in your offer. Gurus love to push the no risk terms, but there's a big problem with that. And let me explain. When you mention risk, well, guess what? People are now thinking about the risk because humans think in images, okay? Literally the word vision, when you envision something, your brain produces an image, right? And that image is you doing whatever that thing that you're supposed to be doing. For example, if you envision, literally the word vision, right, comes from the vision, which is an image, okay? So when you envision yourself being successful, well, there's an image that comes to your brain doing the things that you want to do when you are successful, right? So this is literally it, right? So when you mention things like risk reversal in your outreach, in your offer, when you're presenting anything really, now people are thinking about the possibility of your automation or workflow not working, okay? So this triggers loss aversion and ironically, it kills the sale. Instead, here's what to do. You guys want to hear the biggest aha moment of my entire career? No, we're going to move on. I'm kidding, okay? So the biggest aha moment that I had to learn is that businesses or decision makers that you're going to talk to, that you want to sell your automation to, intros, etc., businesses don't want guarantees. Businesses want clarity. Now, I want you to make this your mantra. And I really want you to literally put this in a piece of paper and literally put it in your room, right? Businesses or people in general, they don't want guarantees. They want certainty. See, the reason why when you put your money in the bank, they guarantee you an interest because in the back end, they're making 10 times more. The reason why you put your money in a CD is because in the back end, they're making 10 times more, okay? So people want clarity and confidence, okay? Guarantees are words, just words. Certainty is a feeling. And us humans, we think based off feelings. 99% of our decisions are based off feelings, okay? So guarantees are just words. Certainty is a feeling. So you don't create certainty by saying your money back guarantee or you'll get a refund. You create it by speaking directly to a real problem. 2, being confident without trying too hard. That's how we create certainty. Just because certainty makes people and businesses, well, because businesses are ran by people, makes businesses say this feels that it will work. That's exactly what sells, okay? Not some refund policy buried in just words, okay? So let's talk about pricing right now, because the main core fundamentals is charging money, okay? So this is the one, charging money, okay? Your offer has to include you mentioning your pricing, okay? And I'm going to show you exactly how to price, right? Your offer, your sales system, your sales automation or automation workflow, whatever you're trying to sell, okay? So let's talk about pricing now. So pricing. I'm going to give you a formula. So charge just enough that it feels uncomfortable, but still believable. See how simple it is? People are trying to make it extremely hard, right? People are trying to overwhelm most people that are trying to build a business in the AI and automation space. So charge just enough that it feels uncomfortable for you, but still believable for the other party. Okay, what I mean by that, pick a pricing that feels slightly uncomfortable for you, but still is believable and doable. Okay, now let me explain to you how to do this. Okay, let me just give you practical advice you can implement today. Okay, so 1, if it feels too easy to say, you're probably undercharging. If it feels too crazy to say, you're probably not ready. Notice how I said you're just not ready for that pricing yet, okay? It's just you don't have the confidence for that, because pricing is not the issue. Oh, I shouldn't say that. The pricing is never the issue, okay? Because businesses are willing to pay whatever, okay? Because we're solving a big problem. We're not just automating stuff. We're actually solving a real big problem, which is client acquisition. If it feels too crazy to say, well, not ready yet. So the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. The middle is your sweet spot, okay? Now, I know you might be thinking, Saad, can you just give me like a number so I can just start pricing today? Well, go from $1,000. Notice how I wrote this as a non-round number, because you don't want to just put 1,000 here, okay? Because it just feels like you just pull that out of your mind, okay? So never do that. So $997 to $2,997, okay? So pick a price that ranges from here, okay? That's your pricing, okay? And use this formula. If it feels too easy to say, you're probably undercharging. If it feels too crazy to say, you'll probably just not ready for that pricing. You will be able to price that, okay? I price now at $8K minimum. So you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to have the confidence. What we want here is just get you the first win so you can actually build momentum. Because think about your momentum. It's kind of like a rocket that flies through the earth to escape the atmosphere. It just doesn't stop. So don't be afraid to feel slightly uncomfortable, because I get it, okay? You need to feel uncomfortable because you need to understand that uncomfortable just means growth. That's it. Growth is happening. It's the quietness before the greatness. Okay. So recap, build your offer, include all of these basic fundamentals, right? Don't mention all this crap about guarantees, because it triggers the loss of aversion, because now people think about the possibility of your workflow sales automation failing, okay? And then price accordingly. Price just enough that it feels slightly uncomfortable for you, but still believable for the other party, okay? Now, the only thing you have to do is literally just get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.